Hello, everyone. Welcome to the All Season 365 podcast. Thank you for joining us. Look forward to you guys being a part of this. Today, we have a special guest. We have Coach Gore. I'm head football coach at Lumberton Junior High in Lumberton, North Carolina, down east. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm great, Coach. I'm great. I'm great. Thank you for the pleasure and opportunity getting on. How about yourself? All is well on your end?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, man. Appreciate you for making time to hop on, man. You've been doing a lot of great things. I'm in the area. You're very committed to the programs and committed to the community. So making time for you to hop on, man, it's that's easy for me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Absolutely, man. So before we hop into today's topic, where we're talking about culture, community involvement, and football, give our listeners a quick snapshot about your coaching journey up until this point.
Yes, sir. I'm Coach Quentin Gore. Like you said, I'm the head football coach at Lumberton Junior High. This will be year 4 for me coming up. I got an extensive coaching background that runs about 9 years. I've done the high school level for 2. I've done semi-pro, and this will be my 4th year here at the middle school level, where we went undefeated last season. We brought in 2 conference championships and 2 county championship runner-up trophies. So man, it's a blessing. It's been a long journey, and I'm still blessed to be a part of it.
Absolutely, man. Well, the first topic of discussion, let's go ahead and get to it. Let's talk about culture. What is your coaching philosophy and how does it relate to team culture?
Um, my coaching philosophy is just simple. You gotta be a dog, and that's not saying that you got to be a dog on the field, but you got to be a disciplined athlete with grit. Um, and you have to be disciplined in the sense of breeding the culture. So
Mm,
as a coach, we get so much leeway or flack to certain kids without even knowing that we do it. And it ends
mm,
up hurting the culture because certain kids feel like, okay, well, this player can do it, I can do it, and I can get away with it. When in reality, we didn't even know it until it got brought to us. So it
mm.
affects the culture to the point where the locker room seems to get split. And that's something that we don't want as coaches, but it happens from time to time without us not knowing because we have to deal with so much. Um, but culture is a part of it's the full embodiment of the football program. So what'll happen is we have to be able to breed a powerful culture to where we as coaches not only can follow it, but our assistant coaches, our kids, and then ultimately the school that we work for and then the community. And when that culture it turns infectious, the support from the community, the staff, the students, and so on and so forth, it's no question for the support. Culture is contagious. And it can be contagious in a bad way or it can be contagious in a good way. But it's all up to us to set that tone.
Absolutely, wholeheartedly, man. And at the end of the day, sounds to me like we're on the same page about it. I mean, culture should be second nature to the point where you don't even have to think about it. And at the end of the day, man, as long as the head coach, establishes the culture, all the assistant coaches should fall in line, and the players, that's the easy part. But if there's any chink in the armor, hey, it's not as easy to sell, man. So good point there on pointing that out about the importance of it. How do you foster a positive and inclusive team culture? Like, what are the few practices that you implement in your youth program to make sure that everyone's on the same page, your players and your coaches?
Um, One of the most important things I do is I let those kids be kids.
Mm,
And what I mean by that is I don't give them so much responsibility or accountability that it's to the point where they feel like they cannot just be kids. They come in like when school starts back, they'll be eating breakfast together, and at the breakfast table as a team, they're they're forbidden from talking about the game of football. So
love it.
they have to talk with each other about life or about the next video game or about schoolwork when it starts rolling in. And then we also do like fellowship activities where we'll
Nice.
get together and we'll go to like the local food bank or we'll volunteer maybe doing a highway cleanup and we'll just try to clean up the community and we'll fellowship as well. I'll grill out for them and we'll sit down and we'll just talk about life. If things are going wrong, how can I fix it? Where am I at as a coach? How do you view me? How can I fix it if something that I don't know about? And ultimately some of those kids give me a hard truth, but a lot of stuff will break your heart, but fix your vision.
Mm, mm. Very true statement. I agree with you wholeheartedly there as well. So let's talk a little bit more about that as well. How do you build a cohesive team dynamic both on and off the field? I mean, you mentioned a few things about neighborhood cleanup or sitting at the table and having and talking about everything but football. What are a few other things that you've implemented into your program to further develop your culture?
Um, I've also started, and this is something new that I'll be doing this year, where we'll do like a mental health minute or mental health check-in.
I like it.
And I won't be doing it per se as far as the first person reaching out, but they will have a brother that they will reach out to on the team, and they'll ask, and if there's something wrong, they'll come to me at like 101 with that brother and say, hey, he's at a 4 on the scale of 10. Like, coach, I care about him. Let's try to figure out something to help him out. And then I'm also doing where we'll do accountability partners in the classroom, where
Nice.
they'll be all together in the classroom, which there may be some, that'll have different classes at a different time or whatever because of the grade level. But they'll end up saying, okay, here's this progress report. I'm going to help him with tutoring. It's to the point where culture is starting in the classroom. Like, I want these kids to understand when you go to high school, when you go to college, you gotta have somebody that you can lean on. That's your teammate. Because if not, it's a lonely, long road. And I want them
Very.
to start it now in middle school so that way they can be accustomed to it when they go to these next levels.
And it's funny because what a lot of people don't realize is that the brotherhood that you're building right now with these teammates, man, ultimately become your lifelong friends. Like once the game is over with, that's the same ones that you call if you need a change of tire or need a ride to the gas station, etc. Right? So
Hmm.
building those bonds early on, they don't even realize, but man, it's gonna last forever, man.
That's it.
Absolutely. Let's segue to community, man. You give a lot back to your community, and so we're on the same page. Anyone who's from the eastern part of the state. I mean, I'm from there as well. You're just built different, but it's out of necessity, right? Because our region doesn't have a lot of resources, so it's really about getting together and giving back to the community and recycling that over and over and over. How do you involve the community in your football team or football program?
Um, I do, which I'm a stickler, which any coach is, about practices where some coaches choose to have, close practices. This year I'll start open practices, um, where the community can come out and just watch us practice, just talk to us, get to know us, some of the former players who played before I was coaching there. I also get the church involved.
Mm,
They give back, like they feed us, or they may bring us like water donations and things like that.
nice.
I'll tend to try to give back with bringing some of my kids to the church as well, just so we can fellowship and enjoy the word. And then, like I said, we're doing the Adopt a Highway. We just gave back to our local food bank where we help distribute food and stuff like that. And we'll start going forward. They invited us every third Wednesday to come out and help distribute food and stuff like that. So my kids I'll take maybe 3 or 4, and we'll start distributing food at the local food bank so they can understand it's always bigger than us. It's always
Mm,
bigger than us. These people pay, their $5 at our middle school game to support us. $5 is a lot
it
nowadays.
is.
You
It
know,
is.
that $5 can make or break rent. It can make or break a meal. But as these people come out and support us, let's support them. They need our help too.
Absolutely, man. It's all about giving back, and one good thing that I love about the program that I'm at now, Vance County High School, is that the community is getting behind the program. I mean, for example, a local church, sent us to the FCA camp, right? And the local church, the way it was communicated to my head football coach is, hey, listen, as long as you guys want to go, and as long as you want to point them in the right direction, man. Hey, we're always going to help, man. But a lot of times people don't really realize how many people are out here to help unless you ask, right? So if you need
Hmm.
help, hey man, ask, and there's nothing wrong with you getting out here, hitting the ground running and getting the community behind your program, So that's a good point there. How do you increase football participation in your program?
Um, it's funny that you asked that because I do something different.
Hmm.
And I got to give credit to my principal, man. Ever since I've gotten there and he's hired me, he's been 100% supportive, and he'll tell me if an idea doesn't work, we're not gonna go about it this way, but let's go about it this way.
Mm.
So I start in the spring. Um,
Nice.
I start recruiting, so per se within the school in the spring. And what I'll do is I'll treat it just like a college. Like if a player has great attendance, his grades is up to par, like B's, A's. There may be a C here and there. Kids aren't perfect. I'll say, okay, your teacher recommended you. I'm giving you a
Mm.
scholarship letter. It is like a scholarship letter, but it's an offer letter that gets them into summer training for free. They don't
Mm.
have they don't have to wait until August for tryouts with other kids when you're practicing all summer.
Hmm.
Um, and it's worked for me every single year because there's a gym that I found that a child who does everything, no suspensions, no discipline issues. When I give them that letter, other kids are clamoring for that letter. Like,
Yes.
I got
Yes.
to do the right thing. Like, Coach Gore's gonna bring me a football letter. Like,
That's dope.
and it's been a blessing to see it come to fruition. There's a lot of stuff that works, but this right here has been a huge, huge success.
I love it, man. That's a great idea too. I've never heard of that, but it makes perfect sense because unlike college and the pros, you don't really have a lot of things tying the kids to the sport, which is part of the reason why, like when they miss, right? I mean, you can say, "Hey, man, why are you missing?" But they don't feel connected to the program. This type of
Right,
thing, like this letter, right? That's the equity you're making it a big deal. Hey, listen, everyone wants one, but not everybody has one. I love
right.
that idea, dog. Like that's tight. That's tight, man. That's tight.
Thank you,
That's
thank you.
and that's gonna point us towards the more football stuff, man. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about some ball, etc. How do you describe your coaching style? Like if we were to ask your players, hey, how do you describe Coach Gore? What do you think they'll say?
Um, Hard nosed, energetic, and lovable. Like I love those young men, and not just the team that I've got, but the team that like the players that I previously had. Like they'll tell you,
Nice.
he's hard on me, but that Joker, he loves his life, and it's a place of people on the outside looking in will never understand what being a coach is like. Like
Facts.
if you don't, if you're a coach that yells all the time or you cuss at the kids all the time, you won't reach them.
Right.
But the moment that you love them in the right manner, you treat them with respect like they're a human being, those kids will respond so much differently. Like, and it's funny that you asked me that question because some of those kids see me, see a lot of us as coaches as father figures,
Yes.
and they hold us to different expectations. But
Yes.
kids can spot somebody who doesn't have their best intentions at heart
Facts.
from a mile away.
Facts.
They can spot that from a mile away, and they'll call you out on it. But they've been so receptive of it, man, and they will tell you like this guy's hard on us. He goes crazy at times, but it's all because he wants the best for us. So
Man, all out of love, man. It's all out of love. And it's funny because we all been there, man. Like I can just vividly remember. I mean, I'm working on year 16 in coaching, but I remember when I first started, man, the ultimate goal was to emulate the hard-nosed coaches, right? The yeller, the screamer, the fight in the cloud, etc. Well, looking back at it now, man, like some people are like, man, Coach Simmons, you done got soft. Like, well, not really, man. Like I'm more intentional now than ever before. Like if there's a problem that needs to be fixed, I first look at myself and say, hey, listen, how can I teach it better? Right? Like,
yep,
how can I teach it better? And if I teach it correctly and you still botch it, it means one or two things. It means you either don't want to get it done or it means you can't get it done. But regardless, it's all about solutions, But most importantly, checking in with an athlete is as simple as you just asking them, how's their day? Hey, look, how is everything going? Do you need anything?
right,
Right. And what I love most about this profession, because you said, hey, look, not everybody can be a coach, right? It's hard work. But what I love most about this profession is that when they leave and do bigger and better things, right? they can't do anything else for you as a player, you still keep in contact with them. And that lets you know that you did your part as a coach, man. So that's what it's all about, giving back, taking care of them and pointing them in the right direction. You're not their friends, right? Like you're not their friend. You're friendly. You're friendly, but they got plenty of friends, so you're guiding them. But yeah, I like that, man. That's pretty accurate. Let's talk about motivation. How do you motivate your players?
Um, I give them a challenge, and they don't know that it's a challenge. I like to not say, "Oh, well, this is a challenge. Like this is what we're doing." Da 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 da. I like to be discreet with it and say, "Okay, well,
Nice.
we're gonna go this way. What are you thinking about this?" And I'll give them maybe like a play or a problem, and I'll just say, "Okay, where are you at?" Not realizing that it's so tough that they got to lean on their brother to help them solve it.
Mhm.
And then ultimately that gets the wheels turning. And then I'll try to tell them, a story of something that I've been through in my past or a story that I've read upon where it'll get them like, okay, coach, I get it now. Like when that light bulb goes off, it's like, oh man, like somebody finally got it. It clicked. But it's such a blessing to figure out the mind of how somebody works, where it's like you could say a certain thing and then that player just fires off. You
Mm.
have that one alpha dog that just sets the tone in the room. And it's like, yeah, like I've got him. I've got him now. Like, let's go. Let's get the rolling. So, and I ultimately end up like, even when we hit the weight room, I end up sounding out first. Like, it's a yell, but it's not like a yell as if I'm fussing. It's a yell like, okay, coach is ready. Like, let's get in here and let's
Let's
get these
get it.
weights knocked out.
And it's funny because I tend to get loud on the field too, but I have to communicate to my players, hey, listen, don't confuse my enthusiasm with anger,
Mm-hmm.
right? Don't do that, because here's the reality. If I don't say anything, you should be worried because I no longer care if you're successful or not, right?
That's
So if
it.
I'm speaking to you, I'm giving you feedback because I see something in you that you might not see in yourself, but don't confuse my enthusiasm with anger, right?
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, playing this game right here, regardless of the level, it's all about passion, energy, and just attention to details,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah. How do you handle so we talked about the good stuff, man, but how do you handle discipline issues, man? Because we all have them. Kids are gonna be kids, they're gonna make mistakes. I remember, hey, I got in trouble quite a few times and my coaches took care of it the best way they knew how. But how do you handle discipline issues?
Um, I got to shout out my administrative staff, my principal, my assistant principal. So they kind of they get me in the loop firstly, um,
Nice.
to to be in the midst of if it's one of my players, and even if
Mhm,
it's not one of my players, if it's somebody that can be reached. But more
mhm,
importantly, they get me in the loop first, and if it's something that's boneheaded, that's probably talking across the classroom, asking for a pencil, I
yeah,
won't go off the rails.
right.
But now if it's something where it's like, okay, we can't let you get away with this. Um, I'll I'll ask myself, what if this was your son that did this?
Mm,
How would you
there you
respond?
go. There
You
you go.
know, and then I'll say, okay, so we could go about it this way. At football practice, I tell people I'm not the person like my old coach used to do, where he would make us flip a tractor tire until he got tired, or
Yeah,
duck walk, and crazy
yeah.
stuff. But I will go to the point of giving them, reminders, reminding them that, what they signed up for. They have a contract that they signed. And
Mm,
that contract basically gives them the breakdown of, discipline drills and stuff like that. But the reminder is also to what they hold themselves accountable for.
mm,
I won't get in trouble. I'll sit at the front of the classroom. I'll engage with discussions in the classroom, so on and so forth. And and discipline ultimately it puts you in a bad spot at times because
it
you
does.
don't want to run a child away because you're
Yes.
disciplining them, because that one time that they get in trouble, maybe that child may have gotten yelled at
Hmm.
before they got to school. Maybe somebody didn't tell them good morning. The smallest things
Yeah.
makes the difference for a whole day. But you
Mm,
ultimately have to stand in the face of adversity and look at that in the face and just break the glass on it. and you got
Right.
to discipline them, because like it goes back to what we said about culture. If you don't do that, then the players are going to feel like they can do it and get away with it as well.
So true, man. And like you said, it's about, because I believe in discipline too, and I believe in punishment, but I believe in being fair, right? Being
Hmm.
fair. Again, the way our old school coaches used to coach us up, it was ironclad. This is what it is, and that's just how it go until I get tired of it, right? Not being reasonable. Well, in today's climate, because you don't want to run players off, but you also want to set a standard. It's about accountability, but most importantly, it's about being transparent. You mentioned that you have guidelines or rules in your contract. So they clearly see what it is that they need to be working on, right? But most importantly, it's measurable, right?
Yep.
So if you just throw a lot of rules out, well, you're going to paint yourself into a corner because you have to enforce it. But I do believe in being transparent, being intentional up front. And once they sign on that dotted line, you can always go back to rule number 4. Hey, you're skipping class. We talked about this, and we talked about what would happen
Hmm.
if this continues to be an issue. But I also believe in handling it case by case, because like you said, it can be a situation where a kid is not eating,
Yep.
or older brother has been locked up in jail all night, or you know what I mean. Like there's a lot of different variables that go into it. So I believe that not one shoe fits all, but I do believe in discipline and being intentional for
Yep.
for the sake of your culture. Absolutely, man. Before I let you go, man, let's talk about playing time. With the way this thing is rolling right now, man, there's players all across the country, and it's funny because I mean, seeing it in high school, seeing it in college is one thing, but it's here in high school, playing time. How do you manage playing time?
Um, it's one of those things where it's not, to me, playing time is not 100% performance based.
Correct.
Um, I'll put my quarterbacks, and I don't know how other coaches do it. So my quarterbacks are put through quarterback academy, where we
Mm,
take time, throughout the summer, and we'll go through playbooks or plays, figure out, if they're running this defense, what would you do? Just kind of nothing out of the ordinary or crazy, but something to get their wheels rolling to see if I could put you at quarterback one. If we're down 3rd and 15, where are we going? How are we running this play? And so on and so forth. Wide receivers go through the same thing. DBs, this, that, and the third. But it's not solely performance based with me. It's also based on, you know, discipline in the classroom, how you act at home. That's a big point. If you can't respect your parents, you're not gonna respect me. Um, and then, lastly, then performance ties into all of that. Like, are
yes.
you loafing at practice?
Mm,
Are you walking around? Are you not paying attention when we're going through EDDs? Are you not listening to the play call? Are you running the wrong routes or running the wrong zone play? Or,
mm,
so many different things. But it's 8-minute quarters. So everybody's trying to get rotated in. But if you're not doing the top 4 things that I'm asking you for to get on that field, I may put you in, but then it depends on how you respond. Because when we're watching film and I'm looking on film and it's like, hey, you blatantly missed a tackle, like,
mm,
then maybe we can go back to the lab and figure out, okay, are you scared? Because the moment you're
mm.
scared to get hurt, you're gonna get hurt. So that's how it is with playing time. And it's tough because parents want their kids to play. They want to see their baby get on the field. But this is why I'm opening up practice this year. So when
Mm,
that time comes, okay, why is my child playing?
mm,
You seen the same thing I saw at practice, and it's
mm.
a tough conversation that we got to have as coaches. But this is what happened during practice. I don't want to put him out there to get hurt because he doesn't know what he's doing.
There you go.
But however, you know, that's what we coach for. Everybody's not going to be that two-way star. That's what we have to make dogs for.
Absolutely, man. And it's funny that you say that because, the more I've been coaching, the more I realize that there's a place for everybody, right? There's a place for everybody. I mean, you might not be the number one Q, right? You might not be the number one running back or the not number one linebacker, but there's opportunities in special teams. There's holders, there's punters, there's kickers, there's gunners. Earn the right to be on the field. But I do think that it's even more important. I mean, you mentioned the intangibles. I mean, you kidding me? Like the question is, do we want this player to be an ambassador for our program, right? I mean,
Hmm.
obviously, performance based, that's one thing because it's about wins and losses, especially in, the higher you go up, right? But that's not all it's about, right? It can't be because not everyone in this state is getting paid to that level.
Right.
But you got to provide something that these kids can always go back to. And a lot of it is just teaching them, showing them the way, I mean, you mentioned with the quarterbacks, because I do the same thing. We have like a little quarterback school, but the most important thing you want to do, even with that, is you want to be fair with the rollout, right? So that when you are evaluating, you talking to your coaches, you know, you can say, hey, listen, little Johnny can't do this, this, and this, but they can do that. So if all they can do is that, they might get in. They just might not play as much as they want to, right?
Hmm.
But that's just how it's about, man. Being transparent up front with parents. Now, I will say something about the practice because I've seen it in both worlds, man. Um, I've been a part of open practices and I've been a part of closed practices, right? The beauty about the open practices is that guess what? Everything is out there. The parents that want to be a part of it, they can see it, right? However, as you know, um, hey, sometimes they over broadcast, they recording, they
Hmm.
uploading it, and all that good stuff, right? So it becomes more like a witch hunt, right? But I do see the opportunity that you provide, which is, hey, look, I just want to be transparent. So at the end of the day, I will say this, it's pretty cool that you're giving it a try, and I will say, once your season gets off and running, I might be checking back in to see like how is everything rolling. Like, hey, is everything as is, or are you making adjustments to it, man? But I think that's pretty cool that you open up the floor for the community.
Yes, sir.
So before I let you go, man, just I love asking this question. What piece of advice would you give any coach looking to build their culture and connect their community to their football program?
Um, the piece of advice that I would actually give them would actually be to just keep trying.
Mm,
It may seem like it's a disconnect, it's not working, people aren't buying in, but maybe there's something different that you can approach it. People always say, well, I did it this way, this is what worked for me. But what's good for the goose isn't good for the gander. Um, you keep trying
yes,
and you throw out experiments. Maybe you could say, we're going to have a drive-in movie night. Use the football field to put up a pop-up projector and screen
nice.
and watch a movie with the community. But keep trying because it something works to where that culture can get tied into the community, and then the community and the culture can come together to follow the football program.
Love it. Love it. Love it, man. Wise words, man. Wise words. Well, thank you for listening to the Offseason 365 podcast. I'm Coach Simmons with Coach Gore, and we signing off.
Have a great day.